No biggie. I was just curious.
We are about to be live. I see Bill.
Hey, I got the notification.
Welcome to Kohl Outdoors. Today we are going to start off with catfishing for the first hour. And then we have one cast, one fish coming up for the second hour, guys. And I'd like to introduce who we have today. We have the one and only Catfish Bill.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Catfish Bill 66. How y'all doing today?
And then we have K&B Anglers.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, guys.
So we have an absolutely awesome show planned for you guys. We're going to be talking catfishing for a little bit here. And we have 12 people in here. And I'm going to try doing this every Wednesday for at least the first hour of the show, talking about catfish for you guys. Because it seems like I have a lot of people that love catfishing. And Sea Outdoors Fishing, this is your one shout out for the show. I'm going to Sea Outdoors Fishing. Make sure you check them out.
The outdoors.
Okay, let me turn you guys up. Whoa, let's not do that.
As you guys can see, Bill is working his behind off today.
I'm working today, fellas, but I'm still doing the interview. I'm putting a gas line together at my job, so I'm trying to do little things in between.
There you go. You guys should have really good volume now.
I see JNC
So,
No Limit.
First and foremost, thank you, Kohl, for having us on the show. We appreciate it. From all of us, all the guys last week, all the catfishermen out there, we appreciate you doing this. We're trying to get the catfishing community bigger and out there more. And guys like you doing these shows, it just helps us. You know what I mean? Promote us, get us out there. We're trying to not take over Bassmasters, but just kind of get right next to you guys out there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, but I want to make an announcement right now. And in June, at some point, we're going to do a catfishing tournament. YouTube-wide, you can fish anywhere in the country, any lake you want. And we'll get out to sit with the catfishers and figure out how to make it more fair, but that's the way we're gonna do something along those lines.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm down with it. We got a lot of good catfishermen out there, man. A lot of good guys out there. We got the pioneers.
I'm also planning on doing every Wednesday of having a catfish community here at the first hour of the show. And sometimes I'll do something after it, and most of the time I don't have another guest after. It's just interacting with the community over here.
Right.
It's really hard to watch both the chat and talk to you guys at the same time.
Yeah, it gets a little hectic.
Exactly.
Yes, it does, Fish Minton.
I can't see the chat. That's the only thing. I wish I had in my laptop.
Oh, I can see the chat, guys. I will bring up all questions for you guys up here. So let's do a quick roll call as we get started here. So I'm going to talk. Everyone that's been chatting in here. We had Beantown Angler, Browntown Fishing, BSF Outdoors, Buckeye Bass and TV, Sea Outdoors Fishing, Size Detecting, Farmer Fanatic, Fishing the Minton TV, J&C No Limit TV, Kentucky Catman Outdoor Adventures, Owens Science Hobby Farm, PD Fishing, Carrollton UFO Builders, Pure Living Outdoors. Those are who we have involved in the chat right now.
Good channels right there, man. Some good channels.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to get someone hopefully up here to help me with the chat in a few minutes here. Grant is off today, guys, so I'm kind of multitasking now.
Okay.
So what is your guys' favorite fishing technique? We're going to start with K&B and then move over to
Go ahead, KB.
Well, this past year we were doing a lot in the way of drifting. taking dragon weights, and we didn't get into the Demon Dragons till later on into the year. So we were using Santee Cooper rigs, using dragon weights. We actually make our own dragon weight. We pulled in a few from other sources. I was going to pull one here, kind of show you what it looked like. If I can get it open. But yeah, we have dragon weights that we use. We make them up. We call them Whipple weights, and they set up just like any other dragon weight. They set up here and they come across the structures, and go across the bottom. You got your dragons up here, and you just wait for them to get on it. We got into doing the Demon Dragons, like I said, the latter part of the year. Started looking at my boy Catfish Bills right there, and on the Demon Dragons, started looking into that. It started becoming real big. Curious on it. We actually created our own for a little bit. Ops creator here, stuff that we use.
We call those string beans.
Yeah, string beans that we were using. We put little BB shots in. And we won't go into great detail with that, but anyways, they worked. Yeah, they worked. But yeah, but we mostly drifted. We did do some anchoring up. It just wasn't productive for us at the time, mainly because we just didn't know what we was doing. We've learned a lot over this past few months, actually, in the way of anchoring up and dropping your weight or your bait over in the water. How big a hook you should use, the size of the bait that you use, of course, and kind of went from there. So yeah, we're still drifting, but we're using a combination of drifting and anchoring, mainly because if we're anchoring up in 40 minutes or so, we're going to move to a different spot, and usually if the wind's blowing just right, it'll drift us over to that spot. That's the way we kind of look at things. We look which way that wind's blowing, and then we basically just go to the opposite end where that pushes back.
Can't hear it.
No, I'm trying to. He's turned up all the way I can.
Yeah. I can hear him. It's just low.
Yeah.
Bluetooth is connecting.
Is it low on your side, Kohl?
That was pretty good, actually. What's your favorite way to catch fish, Bill?
Mine is I originally started as a shore fisherman, but I bought a boat in the past year, and I love it now. So, but anyway, I like Santee Cooper setup pretty much. I just got introduced to drifting by these guys, K&B, and we tried it at this past YouTube tournament we had, and it's pretty neat. I like how to do it. So I'm going to try doing that this year, but mainly I'm an anchor fisherman, and I basically just look for little eddies, current breaks, mainly structure because catfish love structure. And with my down scan, I have a Lawrence fish finder. And like I said, there's so much technology out there today, guys. You can almost see the whole design of a fish. That's how good it is.
Yeah, we've already got some questions already. PD Fishing wants to know if you're ready to buy a mistake.
Nah, you better get that. I like mine medium well.
And then
I like to anchor fish a lot, and I use the Santee Cooper rig, obviously, with my Demon Dragons. So, Demon Dragons. I guess I can still talk to everybody else. You gotta love kids, buddy. Demon Dragons is the way to go. I like it. Or you can use a peg float, or you see the Cooper rig. But I'm pretty much an anchor fisherman. And I also use, I wish I had my stuff. I'm at work, so I really can't show you guys. It's called a modified three-way rig. And what it is it's about 18 inches 18 inches from your main line, you got a swivel, a three-way swivel. And then from the three-way swivel, you go 18 inches to your demon dragon. And then from your demon dragon, you go about about a palm size distance to your hook, a snelled 8/0, 9/0, 10/0, whatever hook you want to use. And at the three-way swivel, you can put your weight. So that's what I use. It's kind of what these guys use as a dragon weight. But since I anchor fish, I just use like a 4 or 5, whatever, depending on the water current. It's what I use. So three-way, it's just like a dragon weight, but the weight sits down in my 18, like almost 20 inches of leader is back here. So it's basically a Santee Cooper rig, just a little bit modified. And I always use Demon Dragons. Don't forget, I know I'm doing promotion shout-outs. Don't forget to check out tacklebandit.com to get all your tackle meats and pick up Demon Dragons, guys. They change the game. If you want to try it out, just try it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It might not be for everybody, but try it out, man. It's a good product. And that's about it.
So what do you get your river rigs when you're fishing a river?
River? I mainly fish the river. I'm a river fisherman. I'm from Pittsburgh, and we got 3 rivers. The Allegheny and Monongahela. And the Monongahela to connect to the Ohio. So I fish rivers all the time, and same way. I use a Santee Cooper rig, basically. But sometimes I'll do the modified 3-way, depending on the current, depending on the situation.
What kind of rigs do you use for the river? Do you use the same ones? We
lost them. But depending on, like in the wintertime, you always want to downsize your baits because the fish are more lethargic, at least in my area, because of the cold weather. So you downsize your hooks, you downsize your baits. You can do like a flapper bait. You cut a piece of cut bait, which we use a shad, gizzard shad, or a lot of people use skipjack. But you just cut it, open it up so it flaps. You put your hook through the top of it, and it looks like called a flapper. That's good for the wintertime up here, But as you get into spring, when they're starting to become real hungry and start feeding, I usually bump up to 8 to 10/0 hook with a nice size chunk of shad. And also live bait always works. Live bluegill, live shad, any type of bait fish, like in the bluegill family, that type, sunfish, whatever, rock bass, whatever you can catch. And also whatever's legal in your area too.
Yeah, so you're trying to just match what they're eating then.
Yeah, whatever it's a bottom line is whatever they're feeding on in your river. So if you know your river and what the fish species, you kind of know what to go. Like my buddy PD, his guys use American eel. They're down there. He likes his eel because that's what they feed on. We have some up here, but mainly it's shad, bluegill, and all the smaller bait fish. But
I understand that. I do that too all the time. Whenever I'm fishing, I always try to match whatever I think they're eating. Is that
exactly.
You're going to catch them the most efficiently? Any kind of fish,
right? Exactly. I guess we lost KB there.
Yeah, I think he can come up anytime he wants. All he has to do is turn on his camera again. I think I fixed the sound problem for him already too. So
it's showing mic off on my side. Yeah. I guess that's him.
All he has to do is hit the mic button.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't see the picture. I had an incoming call, and I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it back up now.
Yeah, I went doing that fixed W on sound.
All right, now
there you go.
I think you asked me a question. Well, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get all squared away. What happened?
Oh, we KB. Your favorite river rigs.
KB, can you show them your setup with the Demon Dragons?
Yeah. Actually, that's what I was pulling out whenever I lost you guys. The way we set up, we have we swivel. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. We've got our swivel on there, and then I'll go ahead and put our little dragon weight on. I use basically, you're talking about the river rigs. I use basically the same rigs, either direction. I'll just change up the weight. Whenever I'm fishing the river. I just recently got into doing river fishing. Um, so it's still kind of new to me, but I don't know if you guys can see that, but we got it on a swivel right there. That's our little whipple weight on a swivel, and then coming off of a barrel swivel right there, about 12 to 6 or 18 inches of line come off of that with Demon Dragons on it, and then coming off Demon Dragon, of course, with our hooks. We've got them snailed in. Actually, using your little trigger rig that you taught us there, Bill. And you know what, you need to pop off on that, Bubby. You can explain that trigger rig a little bit better than I can.
I wish I could. I wish I had my line.
One thing that we discovered out here in fishing with our Demon Dragons and all, and it made sense. And it really, if we'd have looked at it a little closer, we would have realized that we actually lost a couple of these bad boys because the hook got snagged. The purpose of our particular style of dragon weights is that if it gets hung, it will snap off, so you don't lose your rigging. And we will know when we're hung into something that's considered a hook snag, because everything is tight. And then the only thing you can do is just break off and hope for the best. But one of the things that we noticed that we were doing wrong, and hopefully this will help you guys out there that are just starting to use Demon Dragons. We had our Demon Dragons set too far up on our leader, and what was happening is the Demon Dragon was sitting here floating like this, and our baits were sitting way lower. So as it was coming across structure, the weight and the hook is sitting out here, just asking to be hung into something. Push that Demon Dragon back towards that hook. I've got it about an inch and a half, roughly 2 inches back from the hook. And that'll allow for that Demon Dragon to do what it's intended to do, which is, of course, to suspend that bait up off the floor, and you won't get hung into too much structure anyway. It's not a guarantee that you won't get hung in structure. It's just kind of what you do. But that hook set is going to be, and getting hung up out there is going to be more predominant if that hook is sitting lower than it should be. So just one of the things that we learned, we wanted to pass that on to you guys. But yeah,
Power off.
I'm sorry.
Nothing.
I was as far as river rigs though, yeah, we'll use the same, or we have used the same riggings on the river. Bill makes here it is. Bill makes his own little no roll type weights, 2 and 3 ounce weights, and we were able to get a couple of them from him, a few of them from him to try out. Really like them. They're awesome. And they just I can't say too much about them. I mean, they're just awesome, just awesome to have. Haven't used them in the river yet. That's type of weight that he's using out there on the river that Bill's using.
We used them in Sinclair our last fishing trip up. They work great on the lake.
Yeah, they work real on that lake.
There's all different kinds of sinkers and weights you can use. I'm sure you guys know that in your fishing, your techniques. You got your bullets and your little egg sinkers and all that stuff. But I chose to find out the bell sinker I like the best. I mean, there's no roll sinkers that look like an egg, sort of, but they're real flat. So when you cast it out there, it just sits on the bottom of the river and doesn't move. Same thing as mine, but mine's just a little bit more bulkier. It's called a coin, I think. Maybe it's called a coin sinker. But I make from 3, 4, and 5 ounces. I bought my own little rig to, pour my lead into. But I just found out in my area, it works really well. So I'm glad KD's trying them out. They like them in his area. Like, everybody got their own different preferences. So, just choose whatever works best for you and whatever you get your most. Just try different things, and you find out, okay, this line works, this hook works, or maybe switch swivels up or switch anchor leads up. Just experiment basically and find out what works for you in your area. That's the best advice you can really get, and also find out what type of bait fish are in your area too, in your rivers, just like you guys fish for, and you find out what they're feeding on, and then go from there.
Yeah, Mickey XOXO thinks your fish are huge, Bill.
What's that?
Mickey XOXO thinks your catfish are huge in the pictures about my name.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And the next question that we've had from there is Kentucky Catman wants to know if anyone on the panel has ever fallen out of a boat.
All right, so I'm going to
You can tell that story.
I'm going to tell this story. We were at the YouTube tournament back in January, and that's where we got to meet all these great guys, you know, Bill and Jim, PD, and Justin from Justin's Fishing Fetish, and Peel and Drag, O'Neill Mine, and of course, you know, Patriot James, and I mean, just Richard War Scout, just a great group of guys. And so anyways, we're getting ready. I think we had just come off. I can't remember if we had come off the water from the tournament or if it was from the pre-fishing. I think it was pre-fishing. I think it was the day before the tournament.
I think it was a tournament, but go ahead.
It might have been a tournament. Regardless, it was that night. It was late that night. I'm trying to get it was after the tournament. You're right, Bill. I'm trying to get the boat squared away for the night, and it's supposed to come a hard freeze, and you know I'm trying to make sure that I don't have water in my motor, and so it doesn't crack, you know, down on the propeller or the block or anything. And I'm up in the I've got this 20-foot center console that I borrowed from a buddy of mine, my best friend, in fact, William Horton. And so, you know, we're sitting up, I'm kind of up in the air.
What's up, Grant?
What's up? I think Grant's out there trying to catch some of these huge catfish we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, he's out there on the water. All right. But so I'm about ready to get off the boat. I've got it all squared away. And you know, Jim and Bill and Irvin the Pacer was out there, I believe, and Peel and Drag and PD and all them, Justin, all them, they're standing out on the other side of the boat. I go to get off, and whenever I step down, I either missed the step or I caught it wrong. I can't remember. I think I caught the step wrong. But anyways, regardless, I failed. I went off the side of the boat onto the ground and just went boom. And of course, these guys are, you know, they're laughing at me. You know, Bill's talking about he heard tremors for miles. And, you know,
I jumped. I was like,
Jim asked me, he said, before he started like cracking up, he's like, KB, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I fell off the boat. So you can't let me live that one down yet.
no, we're not gonna let that down for a long time, buddy. I was sitting there like, man, I felt something in my feet. You know, I'm like, what the hell? Like, is it a little earthquake? And Jim's like, no, that was KB falling off the boat.
I think I still have a bruise on my butt where I hit the sidewalk.
Don't mind me, guys. I'm sorry. I'm at work. I got a lot of work I got to catch up on, so I'm listening and answering as much as I can.
So what's next for you guys? I know you guys have more tournaments coming up. What tournaments you guys have got coming up?
Hey, KB.
Yeah, we're gonna be going to the Monster Quest on the Santee Cooper. That's coming up actually in 4 weeks? 4 weeks. Oh yeah, about a month now from now. Yeah. Matter of fact, exactly a month from now. It's fairly good. I mean, it's a big tournament over there on the Santee Cooper in South Carolina, and Bill's going to be coming up with us and fishing with us, and you know, that's where PD was asking about the state. We got a little PD and Richard Warskow. They're going to be fishing it as well, and we got kind of a side bet there that whoever brings in the biggest fish has to buy the other one dinner that night. But it's a 2-day tournament, and it's the 14th, 15th. Yeah, the 14th and 15th of March, and we're gonna see if we can do some live feeds while we're out there. So four fish weigh in both days, and then of course it's calculated to come up with the winner for the tournament. But that's one of the things we've got coming up. Of course, now CatCon's coming up in this next weekend. Actually, not this weekend, coming up weekend afterwards, and we're excited about going up there. Everybody that's in the catfish world, the Catfish Conference has become in the catfish world has become one of the biggest events out there. Vendors come in, show their wares, and YouTubers roll in like ourselves and network and rub elbows. And Steve Douglas is
Yeah.
And he's awesome. He was the one that actually got us started catching big catfish. Watching Steve Douglas and what they go through, and then all these guys. Pop and I were relatively new to the game. Pop used to fish practice all his life, and then up 2 years ago, I bought a boat and we started fishing, and we thought we knew what we were doing, and then we started watching YouTube. Found out we didn't know jack.
That's funny how much you can watch YouTube and start picking up new tips that you didn't ever even think about doing. So, do you guys have any big plans in the near future?
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. Just stay tuned. All I can say is stay tuned to all of our channels. We got a lot of things coming up. The 2019 Catfish Conference, like KB said, February 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in Louisville, Kentucky at the Expo Center. I will be there. Kay will be there. There's going to be so much going on there. All the vendors from all over the places, boats, fish finders, all the gear you could possibly want, fishing rods, everything you want to need. My shirts will be there. Just saying. It's going to be a great time, man. It's going to be it's just a big festival of all the cat fishermen. It's first time it ever started. It started in a boat dock or boat something. And, hold on, I gotta shut that phone call off. And it's got big. We went to the expo. Now it's at the Expo Center. It's huge. So hopefully next year it's gonna get bigger and bigger. It's just growing, man. It's a beautiful community we have, and I just can't wait to see where this thing takes off to. But stay tuned. We're gonna have a lot of things coming up. Great bunch of guys are getting together and doing some big things, and that's about all I can really say about that. Stay tuned. You guys see, and we've been dropping little hints here and there, so it's gonna be awesome, guys. It's nothing but good for the catfishing community and everybody in general. So don't take it, and people that come in with negativity, no, it's gonna be something totally awesome, guys. You're gonna enjoy it. So stay tuned.
Okay, we're going to take our first commercial break right here, and then when we come back, I'm going to give you guys a little time to think about your answer. I want you guys to tell me where you guys see the sport of catfishing going. So we're going to take about a 1 minute break. You guys think about it.
Winning tournaments, baby.
Winning tournaments.
Steak dinners. Grass lines. I'll be right back, guys.
So we're back, guys, from the commercial break. And we're going to start off with JNC Fishing. Where do you guys see the world of catfishing going?
Well, it's growing exponentially. I mean, it's from where it was just 5 years ago compared to where it is right now. And the way that it's growing, even to date. I mean, the Catfish Conference, I think they've been running that now for 4 years, I can't remember. Yeah, process 3, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. So that tells us that that the catfish community is growing. There are more people out there that are interested in catching those big hogs and those donkeys, I call them. Learn more techniques and how to catch those big blues and those big heads that we're seeing everybody on the YouTube channels showing. That's what got us into it. I mean, it was simply watching everybody catching 4-pound blues and 36-pound flatheads, and then you see these guys that are breaking records out there, lake records with 80 plus, 100 plus pound catfish. That's a big fish for a freshwater fish.
Heck yeah.
I mean, you generally don't see fish that big in fresh water. I mean, you get into those pounds of, those greater pound of weights, and you're looking at the ocean. Catfish can get huge. I mean, everybody has heard the legends, and I call them legends because there's no quote unquote proof as of yet that it's true, but everybody's heard the legends of catfish being big enough to swallow VW Volkswagen. And I'm not saying that there's not, because there's got to be something to those legends. I mean, when we're looking at 106 to I don't remember what the world record is right now on catfish in general, but I know over in Russia, I think it is. I mean, they're pulling 200 plus pound catfish.
That's the whales, the whales catfish.
Whales cat, yeah. And there's so many different species of catfish. Just around here. I mean, we have the bullhead, we have the channels, the blues, the flatties, and everybody's looking to get in on, those big fish. They're like, oh my God, you can get that. And then they start looking at the techniques. And that's what got Pop and I into looking at that was, we started seeing how big these jokers can really get. And we were like hooked from the very start, so that's why we started our hunt for the white whale, so to speak.
Yeah.
How are you on catfish, Bill? What do you see? How do you see the world of tournament fishing developing?
The tournament fishing?
Yes, for the cats.
I see it getting really huge. I mean, right now there's so many tournaments out there. It's just getting big, and it's like I said. I think we're gonna go neck and neck with Bassmasters. As long as the community we have now stays on the right path and doesn't get crazy and let all these, there's gonna be so many fishing rods, so much gear out there. It's just getting bigger and bigger. I've been doing this since I was 8 years old, around 8 years old, catfishing, and from then, it's just grown immensely, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. Just look at the Catfish Conference. It's gone from a small boat dock to a big facility. Who knows what's going to be? They're trying to expand this thing to different states and have it at different places. So it's getting huge. And I'm just glad to be part of it and glad to get in it early. And so we can be like the pioneers and push forward and teaching kids and, passing the generation to generation. That's like my big thing is making memories and teaching young kids how to fish. And that's the best thing out there. I love it. Like he's talking about catching a white whale or what do you call it? But it is like, if you see that picture in the background, I caught that blue. That's my first one before. I caught a 25-pounder. That thing looked like a shark in the water. And then you catch a 44. I can't imagine catching 55, 60 with these guys catching 100 pounds. Like that thrill is better than any drug, anything out there. That thing is so amazing. And once people get their hands on that and start catching it, it's going to take off, So we're just out here trying to promote it and do the best thing we can. And our YouTube channels as also as memories, but also trying to promote the sport of catfishing. And like he's talking about YouTube, I started watching Steve Douglas and Steve Douglas, Chris Flores, Luke from Nichols, all these guys, man. You can take a piece from each one of them and put that into your repertoire and you can be an awesome catfisherman. I learned so much from Steve Douglas. I mean, these guys are like the grandfathers of his catfishing community, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And I want to be part of it. And I just can't look. I'm looking forward to what's happening next. So we got a big thing coming up next for us as a group, a little community we have, and we're gonna take off with it, man. So I'm excited, and I thank you, Kohl, for doing what you do, buddy. You're doing a great job. Thank you for having us and starting a catfishing chat every week now. Hopefully, we get more and more catfishermen on there, and everybody just grow. Because as a community, we can't do it by ourselves. We need each and one of you guys. So once again, thank you for all you guys to subscribe to all of our channels. We just won't be nothing without you. And so help each other out, subscribe, and let's take over. Let's do this thing, man. That's right.
Yeah, I had a question. Someone asked if anyone up here is going to be fishing the Blues tournament in Milford Lake.
I might not be, but someone else might be. Where's Wilford?
Fortunately, we're not going to be. I did see where PD Fishing asked, was wanting to ask as far as what our take was on all the great products out there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna let you take that one.
The great products out there. I mean, obviously you can see my hat, whisker sticks. I'm so proud to be part of all these. Hooker's Terminal Tackle, Muddy River Catfishing. Like I said, there's so much products out there, and then you got these little cliques that are trying to fight against it. Why? Why fight against it? It's always doing is benefiting everybody. I mean, I think people love drama. I think that's what it really is. But I promote everything that I use. I love what these guys use. I love what you use, Kohl. It don't matter. It's just a sport that we've grown from kids that we loved, our passion. Who cares what you use? We use our group of guys. We use everything, and we promote everybody because, like I said, it helps. It's just, that's a tough subject for me because I love everybody's product out there. If you follow all the social media out there, there's all this negativity. We ain't about that, man. We support Whisker Sticks, Lightning Bugs, Catfish Clothing, everybody out there, Muddy River Catfish and BCF rods, everything. So Monster Rod Holders, we love it all, buddy. So we got so many amazing products. Get out there, try them, see what works for you, and use it. And have a fun time making memories with your family and have fun catfishing.
And one cat, one fish wanted to know, what's up, Bill?
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, I am following along in the chat and writing the questions down as I see them.
It's an amazing thing, man, and we met so many amazing people. Just my group of guys we have are the best guys I've ever met, and there's so many more, and that's another good part of it. YouTube and all these tournaments and stuff like that. You get to meet these people, and you make friends for life.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that, and
yeah,
it's amazing how many great people I've met.
Right.
Since I started this, and Kohl Outdoors is actually growing really, really, really fast, and I keep branching out so many different ways. And
I thank you too. You helped me grow a lot, so it's a good thing, man. We got to stick together, quit fighting it. And I hate saying it's us against the man, but let's just keep pushing forward and help each other grow and keep making memories. Get out there and catfish, man. Try it out. Hook it to a 20-pounder, and you'll be hooked.
Hook it to a 6, that'll hook you quicker. I mean, that's
KB, you need to hook into a 20-pounder.
But I got started on a 6-pound. I didn't know at the time that they were getting that big, that they could get that big.
Yeah.
And the first big fish I ever hooked into was a 6. I haven't hooked into any bigger ones. I mean, like big. My PB on cat, 11 pounds. My total PB on biggest fish I've ever caught. Now Pop's caught some 25s and caught a 17 and last year blues, and it'll hook you real quick. As far as that's concerned, but yeah. Us that Patriot was in the house. Just wanted to give that shout out to Patriot Catfishers of America.
Thank you, Patriot. That's another guy there. He's a great guy,
Yeah,
great fisherman. He promotes, America, and that's a beautiful thing. And he has a thing that he wants to see people's flags on everybody's boats. That's another thing. Bring back to what this nation is. Our America and our love for fishing. Thank you, Patriot, buddy. I love you, buddy.
But yeah, going, like I said, meeting great people.
I'm running for president.
You see people that are on YouTube, watch, everybody's channels, and you get to know them through their channels, but you really don't know them until you meet them face to face. And these venues like CatCon and Patriot did the YouTube tournament, where all of us could come together and actually see each other face to face. We were already, Bill and Jim and PD and Justin and all these guys that we met, we were already brothers, just by, supporting each other and talking with each other. And then we solidified that brotherhood whenever we went over to that YouTube tournament and became closer and saw that everybody else was just like us. They were doing their own thing. They were real, keeping it 100, and that's what it's all about. I mean, you see there's a lot of guys out there on YouTube that you see them on their channel one way, but if you meet them, they're totally different. Well, the one thing that I've noticed is with the few of the YouTubers that I have met so far, the catfish community is 100%. We're 100% real. We are the same way outside of YouTube as we are on YouTube.
That's right.
And that's what makes it so great, is that we are who we are. And
hey, Kohl, what do you? Oh, I thought you were done, buddy. My bad.
Our secrets and our tips and trying to help each other out, and that's tight. When you got, and I'm not knocking, the bass tournaments and bass fishermen because, I do a little bass fishing myself, but there's a lot of those guys out there that keep it so tight knit and, and they're totally different off the water as they are on the water in front of cameras. And, we're not wanting to be like that. We're wanting to be the exception to that rule, and that's where we are coming into into our own right now. Is you asked a while ago, Kohl, where we saw the catfish world in the next few years. I foresee it being as big or bigger than the bass world. I hate to say that because bass is one of the main things out there.
Whoa.
We're coming into our own.
That was a chair.
I've been watching you on chat on the side over here.
But yeah, he's right. There's so many. I don't know how to say it, but just be real, be yourself, make memories. Don't be something you're not, because in the end, it all comes out in a wash. Like, Kohl, man, you're 100% true. I like your story too. I didn't know that about you. Thank you for what you've done, your service.
Yes.
Oh, you went back and watched my intro video.
You're an amazing guy, man. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work, buddy.
Yeah, and I think I think the catfish tournament I'm gonna put on is gonna be pretty awesome. I'm gonna try to go YouTube wide, and I'm gonna need some more guests for my catfishing segment for next week. So we're gonna have to work on that this yet.
Yeah, we got a couple guys for you.
I'd like to keep it rotating through different catfishers, and I'm learning from you guys. I haven't done much catfishing, so some of my questions aren't very specific.
It's okay. I mean,
I want to do a quick shout out right quick to my bustin' Justin, Justin's Fishing Fetish, my boy. I just found out, I just saw that he's in the chat, and he makes his own version of a dragon weight, and it's pretty awesome. Just wanted to give that shout out to you guys and say what's up, Justin.
Hi, Justin. Shout out to Kentucky Catman.
Kentucky Catman.
My VP.
I saw Palin in here a while ago, Bill.
Peeling, yeah, great group of guys, man. You can have Peeling Drag might want to come on. Richard Warscall, he might want to come on.
And if you guys are new here, make sure you guys are hitting that red button underneath my name.
I see Brenda Klein is in the chat, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Brenda. I saw one of her live streams the other night, and it was pretty awesome. I just wanted to give that shout out to Brenda Klein.
Yeah, she has a good live stream.
Oh, Brian Outdoors just asked, what's your favorite catfishing boat?
One that's mine. I like the Sea Arcs, but Pro Cat Sea Arc. I think it's Sea Arc. G3 makes a good boat. There's so many good boats, but for the money, Starcraft makes a great boat. You know, a buddy of ours just redid one of his boats, and it's just older Starcraft, man. It's awesome looking now. Check him out. It's team. What's it? Team reeling the blues, or not reeling the blues? I'm sorry. Team keeping it real. Yeah, keeping it real. Richard, and he's got a sick boat, man. It's awesome. So I don't know if you want to spend the money, Sea Arc, but for budget, maybe Starcraft or look around. You want to have a decent open bow in the back. So, like I fish all at the back of my boat. A lot of some people drag like these guys do, and you got the sides, but I fish off the back of my boat. So you got to have a nice open back, a lot of room to move around with, and a good size live well. So there's a couple of things you want to look for.
Yeah, I know if you have a 100-pound cat, you're not going to put it in a little tiny live well.
Yeah, you need to win that money, that tournament. So
You always catch cats off the back of the boat. Just saying, you know what I'm saying?
That's it, buddy. That's how we do it. So, you always do that.
If I could ever teach him how to captain the boat, I might catch some fish off the back of the boat.
Right.
Yeah, Cole, I like the Starcrafts and the G3s. There are so many boats out there that are so awesome for catfishing. And right now, the boat that I bought was a bass tracker. It's a little model bass tracker. It's platform off the back and the front, and and that's what we've been fishing and fishing in and everything. But I'm kind of partial. I was just introduced to the Starcraft through Richard Warskow. And keeping it real, and his makeover on the Starcraft that he bought, and I really liked the way they were laid out. And I was when we went to Patriots tournament, the YouTube tournament, I had that center console, fell in love with the center consoles, so because of all that open room and everything, so different. It's different. It's all about the person, and what they like and their preference, just like anything else out there. Bass fishermen, somebody say, well, I like the nitro, another say, well, I like the Tiger. It's the same with catfishermen. One say he's the way to go, the other say, no, go with go with the Starcraft or go with the I forgot what it's called. Anyways, just different boats and it's all about preference and what you like, and a lot of time has to comes down to what you originally started fishing in, or fishing in. I fished a long time because that first boat I bought, I was in the bass trackers, and then I started doing more catfishing, and I started looking, the boats that the guys out there that were catfishing were using. I'm like, I'm way underqualified.
Yeah, PD Fishing wants to know what is some good rods for people to get into catfishing.
Well, yeah, for the money, you can get a GX2 from Walmart. It's an ugly stick. For like $50 around my area, you can get it. Comes with a reel. Ugly sticks are really good rods. But as you get into the fishing more and more, you can go through Muddy River catfishing rod. He just came out with a blue cat rod. It's just going to be premiered on the Catfish Conference. You got Big Cat Fever rods. As you get into it more and more, they're a very good rod. Tangling with Catfish got a great rod. They're sponsored by Steve Douglas. Steve Douglas is sponsored by them. There's many good rods out there, and then you got guys that make their own rods, and you can get them designed how you want it. So you got to look into that too. But for a starter, I would go with the medium to heavy action ugly stick for the money. And then you can get a different reel as you get used to it. Like I use baitcasters now, and I use Min Yang baitcasters and Akuma baitcasters. I switch from spinning, but just to start out, I would go with the spinning reel, medium to heavy, ugly stick. You can get at Walmart, and get some lead, get some leaders, and you can start out with chicken liver. You can catch on some catfish or some channel cats that way, just to start out, or get some shad, or you know what I mean, and work your way up. Like I said, like Muddy River, I'm a big fan of Muddy River rod. That's just me. Like these guys are just something different, and everybody else is something different. It's all what you feel, what you like.
Yeah, we started out with the Zebcos. I mean, of course, Pop's very first rod to was a Zebco 33, and he still has it actually, and still uses it to catch like scale fish and such as that, panfish and whatnot. But when we got into catfishing, we took. I'm sorry, my wife's making a joke. But anyways, we got into catfishing. We realized we need something bigger than what we had, and so because we were familiar with Zebcos, we bought a couple of Zebco 888s with some quantum rods, and there was comboed, and we started catching fish. We still use those 888 Zebcos, but like Bill was saying, Bill actually got turned me on to the Akuma XLS. I think it's called. It's the classic Akuma. He turned me on to those. I really like the way they handle. We started kind of what we called upgrading from the Zebco quantum rods to the ugly stick GX2s. The medium heavies are what you really want to get into because of that action on that tip. I've stepped up to Muddy River Catfishing's flathead rod. Hadn't caught anything on it just yet, but I'm getting there. But I have hung into some things and saw what the action is on it. Just what I'm saying. But I mean, the action is there, so I like the way it handles, and that's the main thing. That's what I have my Akuma on. Shakespeare ATS bait casters. They're fairly cheap, and you can get them at Walmart. That's where we got ours at, and they handle pretty well. So it's pretty much whatever you can afford is what you can start out with.
One thing to always remember when you're getting into anything, especially into fishing, when it comes to your rods and your reels, number one, you want to make it affordable according to your income, because if you aren't careful, you'll tie up a lot of money in tackle and reels and rods that sit in the corner and collect dust. The other thing you have to remember too is catfish doesn't have a clue whether you've got a Zebco on that rod, if it was a cocaine pole or what it was. All he knows is there is food down there and he's going at it. So it's not always about the rod, the reel. It's what you can afford and what works for you, because that fish don't know any different.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming up here for the catfish segment. So if anyone would like to be on the catfish segment in the future, make sure you send me an email to DerekCohl2929 at hotmail or at gmail.com, which I'm going to put in the thing here. So for future members who want to come up here, you can send me emails here. And they're going to get better every single week. And I want to thank Catfish Bill 66 and KMB Anglers for coming up today. I have to remember the channel names. And thank you guys.
Thank you, Kohl. And stay tuned to my channel. We got a lot coming up. It's going to be an awesome year. I'm going back to New Mexico this year to fish at Muddy River catfishing. Go to Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, and hopefully make it down to Georgia for these guys. So it's going to be a great year. So stay tuned to Catfish Bill 66 at youtube.com. Thank you, Kohl. And that's it.
Oh yeah,
Appreciate it.
Ourselves, and we're hoping to get bigger and better out there this year. And like Bill said, there's a lot of great things coming up in the near future. You guys be ready for it. It's going to be awesome. Tournament, we're looking at like I said, Monster Quest on March 14th and 15th. That's as far as we get as far as tournaments right now. We may be doing some local tournaments. It's just kind of dependent on what's going to go down later on in the year. But I foresee big and things happening for all of our channels out there.
Stay tuned. Just stay tuned, guys. There's going to be a big sighting coming up. It's going to be a Grim Reaper. Stay tuned. Thank you, Kohl.
Okay, thank you, guys. And make sure you guys come back in and type stuff into the chat for all these great channels to come back and get you guys. So thank you guys for coming.
Thanks, Kohl. Anytime, buddy. All right, buddy.
See you, KMB. So now we're going to change gears a little bit here, and we're about to have we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then here in a few minutes here, we're going to have one cast, one fish on panel. So here we go. We're going to go to commercial break, guys. Well, we are back, guys. So that was a great show, guys. I absolutely enjoyed having them up here, and I think our next guest is going to be absolutely awesome too. But I want to talk a little bit before we have a little bit of time here. I want to remind everyone that tomorrow's show is going to be absolutely awesome. We have coming on the show tomorrow, so we have a trapping show, and we have Golden Valley Trappers, BSF Outdoors, Papa Rome's, and B&O Outdoors. So that's going to be absolutely awesome, and I can't wait for it. I'm hoping for great things. I have to go out and make that flyer and see what's going on. So here comes one cast, one fish should be up here momentarily. So Fishy Angler and me, I'm going to be live on his show in a couple weeks. So that's going to be absolutely awesome. I'm going to let him announce it a little bit better than me. We have Hooja Hunter in here. So you guys seen that there's lots of things going on. And in the beginning of next month, I'm actually going to be starting a podcast. So you're going to have a podcast on top of the morning show that's going to happen once a week. Yeah, I know. Hey, what's up, Grant?
We ain't caught nothing yet, but it's windy as can be. I didn't want to. I had myself on mute because I didn't. We just moved spots.
Hey, one cast, one fish is in the house.
What? All right. Can you see me there, Cole?
Yeah, I can. So you're enjoying today's show so far? I kind of need to change my background now, don't I?
Hey, I catch a few catfish here and there.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know One Cast, One Fish, you should know that's an absolutely awesome channel. And I want to thank you for coming up here today.
Hey, thanks for having me on. So, looking forward to it. Excited all week to get a chance to get on here, talk to everyone a little bit.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Your little studio there.
Yeah, a lot of people like that. Yeah, I got to represent,
Yeah.
I came from the Army originally, so got a little bit there in common. So
Yeah, but if I did something like that, I'd have to lose my green screen. But I do have all those exact flags you have.
yeah, got to represent.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm hooked up.
Grant has something on, I think.
Yeah, I'm hooked up on 6-pound test, and it looks like about a 10-pound catfish. Perfect for the catfish show.
Oh, wow, guys. Just watch him bring in a 10-pound catfish, guys.
If I can land it. It's on this 6-pound test. I don't know.
Oh, just you let you drag to the work, man.
It's the first time I've ever used a trout magnet. Fat Man Fishing told me to buy some gold trout magnets.
Oh, we'll come back to him. We'll watch him in the back screen here. We can interview. So tell everyone a little bit about your channel, One Cast, One Fish.
Well, my channel has a wide variety of things, so it's not just straight fishing. I do a lot of bass fishing, striper. I'll catch some catfish this year. I'll put on video. A lot of pond fishing, bluegill, perch, crappie, stuff like that. But I also do a lot of one of my real popular videos is I do a lot of tutorials, like how-to videos, fish finder stuff, how to use your electronics. That's real popular. Also a lot of fishing hacks and tips and tricks. Just showing some of the things that I've learned over the years, tournament fishing, things that really, set your lures apart a little bit from the other baits everyone else is using. And everyone seems to like those too.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that I actually do tutorials on here too, but I haven't had a chance to get out that much right now. So how do you go about catching one fish on every single cast you take?
Well, if I told you that, it wouldn't work out, Cole. I couldn't tell you all my secrets, but let me just say it's in the video editing.
Oh, I know.
I was wrong, Cole. It wasn't a catfish.
Look at Grant caught. I mean, when he caught a 3-pound bass or so.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably about 3 pounds. My first fish of 2019 is a nice bass.
Oh yeah, you're almost getting to your largest bass you've ever caught, aren't you?
I've caught some about 6.5 right in the top of the mouth.
Yeah, that's a good sized bass.
Hit that little bitty trout magnet.
Oh yeah, right now they should be hitting the smaller bait. The winter time there, so you're kind of like it's like a November time.
Heck yeah!
Awesome fish.
Live action on Kohl Outdoors.
That's a pretty nice bass.
I didn't get it on.
That's a nice looking bass.
I'll weigh it.
He's gonna weigh it. I was guessing 3 pounds. Yeah, I guess One Cast.
I'm gonna say that one is just under 3 pounds.
Okay. While we wait for Grant.
So I use something really similar to those trout magnets. So we'll see what this one weighs.
Yeah.
You see that? 3.7.
I was close.
3.7, so I wasn't that far off. Yeah, so what's your plans this year for your no. One second, I'll get to that issues in terms in a second. What's your plans for your channel for this year?
Well, I kind of, some people plan a lot of things out. I kind of just going to play it by ear. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing. It seems to be successful. I'm going to stay with the tutorials, the fishing hacks, and how-tos. One thing I really want to get into this year, it's kind of why I'm here with you today, is the live streaming thing. It's something I've never done. So, I've always been able to hide behind the camera, the editing, stuff like that. So just trying to get comfortable in a live kind of environment, because there's a lot of great channels. I visit a lot of streams and stuff, and it'd be nice to be able to do the same thing for a lot of these other channels, kind of like what you're doing and what a lot of other channels are doing to help everybody out.
Yeah, I kind of run my shows kind of a little differently than a lot of people do with the bringing people on here, interviewing them. And they asked me about my ice fishing tournament. My ice fishing tournament is still happening on the wait, right, the 23rd. Wow. All right. Well, it's still happening. Let me go check my date. It's horrible when you forget your own stuff, isn't it? Don't you hate when you do that?
The boxer vest. I didn't get the porch and okay.
I want to say it's the 23rd, but maybe the 21st.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, I have so much going on my show right now, and this should be like a blooper moment.
So like I was saying earlier, he uses them trout magnets and caught that. I use something that's pretty similar to those, and they're in some of the videos that I've got. They're these little pinworms, and they're really similar. And the cool thing with those is what a lot of people, like the trout magnets, I'll catch like 5-6 fish on those, and it's time to put a new one on. But these little pinworms I use, they're from a company called Nico Baits. They're from Japan. And I actually use those, and they last, I've been using the same since the summer. I don't know if anyone ever was looking for something a little more sturdier. It's a good option out there. I've been using some of their baits. I've been really trying to get into using baits from these smaller companies, especially in the Japanese market, because, a lot of their stuff we don't get here, and the stuff we do, nobody really hears about because you have these big tackle manufacturers out there. But some of these smaller companies or these overseas companies like that, some of the stuff they produce put some big fish in the boat for me every year.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just kind of curious about what are your techniques when you're going out and you're looking for perch?
When it comes to perch, I do really well with big yellow perch. There's a lake that's really close to me, and it's kayak fishing for me. And one of I've got here in Virginia, we have these citation awards for length and weight, and I've got a bunch of those for perch. But what I like to do actually is I'll take and just like bass fishing, I actually drop shot for them.
Oh yeah,
so
it's going to be pretty. I think my ice fishing tournament is going to be pretty good right now, and I want to remind everyone that you need to join the Kohl Outdoors Facebook group and at least tag that recent flyer I have on there if I can get a good head count of how many people we have in the tournament. That's been one of the hardest things, just tracking who's doing it and who's not right now.
Yeah, also for the perch and stuff, this is the time of year, probably in like the next month, it's going to be real well. This is when they usually start to spawn. So the big females will start moving shallow, finding, usually they're going to look for a rocky bottom with like gravel or something with some clay or mud nearby. And that's where they like to lay their eggs and sit. And like I said, the next month or so is going to be really hot for the perch spawn.
Oh, yeah, that's why I've kind of picked this month right here. Is they're going to come up and up here up north, they're going to start getting ready to set up to go to spawn underneath the ice. And I'll be surprised right now if they come into the bay when I'm fishing, it's going to be like 13 to 16 inch perch all day long, which is a pretty big perch.
Yeah, I used to fish big perch a lot. I grew up in Indiana on Lake Michigan, so a lot of days out there on the lake catching big jumbo perch, 15, 16 plus inchers. And then we'd bring them back, flay them up, cook them in some butter, bread them. Those things are good eating right there.
Oh, yeah, they are. I can't wait. I'm going to actually bring home a bunch of them. I got like 4 or 5. I have like 4 channels fishing with me that day. Okay, what kind of boats do you prefer to have on one cast, one fish?
What was that? What kind of boat?
Yeah.
Well, I've had a few boats. I started out originally um, with tracker boats, and since I had those, I've kind of upgraded, and now I run Ranger boats only. Just mainly because you get to kind of design it and pick your own stuff on it. So I'm not really like when I bought the trackers, Bass Pro Shop. It's kind of like a package deal, and whatever the package has is kind of what you get.
Oh
And
yeah,
Ranger lets you specify everything on their boat, so you can choose your electronics, your trolling motor, batteries. You can have a whole list of options. So,
that's
just
because
being
they
able to
make
special.
ranges one at a time, right? Pretty much. And Ranger was actually bought out by Bass Pro Shops recently.
Yeah, not too long ago. It was 2 years or so ago, maybe now, but they were. But you still have those customizing options, which is good.
Oh yeah, and
And that was the big thing for me, being that I'm not just strictly a bass fisherman. I actually spend a lot of time trolling for striped bass, hybrid striped bass, stuff like that. So being able to, specify all the little features of the boat really helped out. Like for mine, I have extended rails on the side so I can have more rod holders, stuff like that. So that's
yeah,
kind of why I like them. Plus, I mean, the Ranger name is legendary as far as quality, and I've never had a problem with my boat. Anytime I've had a question, they've been right there to answer it. So I'll probably be a Ranger boater for life.
oh yeah, Ranger boats are absolutely awesome. I absolutely love Rangers myself, and I don't get to fish in them anymore like that. In turn, I just can't ride in big boats and tournaments anymore because of the way my back and neck is. It gets pretty rough sometimes.
Yeah, I run one of the big walleye boats, so they're really nice because the seats in them, like for mine, they're pedestal seats, and they actually have what they call like an air ride suspension. So the pedestal actually has shocks in it, and it's air, and it'll actually take and push out a lot of that vibration and bounce. Plus, there's springs and cushion in the seat that help too. So it really takes out a lot of those big hits going through the waves.
Yeah, yeah, and one thing which I've noticed about is just learning how to do these panels and that is you have to learn how to ask the questions to keep people talking. Because a lot of times people come to hear the other person talk, not the host. And if you're setting up there, one thing I recommend you guys doing, this is for everyone in the chat, is learning how to ask open-ended questions. So one cast, one fish. Tell us a little bit more about your background. How did you get into fishing?
Well, I've actually fished for pretty much most of my life. My dad used to take me fishing, me and my brother, so we were always on the lake. I grew up bicycling down the railroad tracks to lakes, and so I've been fishing all my life, and you know, it's been great. I've been sharing it with other people. Now I take and do a lot of. I used to fish a lot more tournaments, but now I've kind of started focus. I do a lot of volunteer stuff now, fishing wise. So I'm really actively involved with Wounded Warriors and a few other things like that, doing tournaments around the Virginia area for them.
Yeah, what do you do
That
with the Wounded Warriors?
they put on fishing tournaments here. So basically, we'll show up and we'll be the boaters, and each boat will take out a warrior with them, and it's kind of just a big tournament that they have. Everyone usually, it's not like it's a normal tournament where there's money and stuff involved, but it's all donated sponsor stuff. So
Okay.
everybody gets something, and you just get to take. Usually, I'll take one or two people out, and some events are smaller with maybe 25, 50 people. Some of the events when I get like on the Potomac River or some of the other lakes, I mean, there might be 100, 150 boats out there fishing with some warriors, because where I'm at, I'm actually near Quantico Marine Corps base. So it's one of the biggest bases here on the East Coast as far as the Marines. So we get a lot of wounded Marines and stuff like that that go out with us.
Oh yeah, and it's absolutely, that is one of the best organizations there is for us warriors or veterans, is to be involved with that, and then making sure that you're involved with the VFW and the American Legion, because without those organizations, no, you don't. You're gonna rights gonna get all stompled over the place.
Yeah, I could talk for a while about that. You know, like I said, that's one of my big things now is fishing with those organizations, taking people out. You know, it feels good to give something back, you know, because having served in the military myself, you know, I know what a lot of those guys have been through. I've seen a lot of them guys and what they've been through. So just being able to take them out, being able to relate with them a little bit, and have a good time, you know, it's really fulfilling for me. It's really fulfilling for them. So overall, it's a great thing that I just absolutely love doing now.
Yeah. So when you're going out onto a new lake, what is one of the first things you're doing to find the fish?
Well, the first thing, if you're heading out to a new lake, maps. So I always want to take in, if I can get a hold of an actual map of the lake, I'll do that and study it. But also now, a lot of times, like the new, I run Hummingbird Fish Finders and all the Navionics chart mapping. So Navionics has most of the lakes charted out. So I'll actually spend quite a few hours in the garage in the boat with the fish finder fired up, and I'll actually go through all the contour changes and actually look for spots I want to fish. And that's going to vary on time of year. So, like right now, it's winter time. So, what I'm going to be looking for is a few main things. One, if it's going to be a warm spell and it's kind of got a lot of sun, I want areas that are going to have a rocky shore or a clay bank. And the reason is rocks, clay, stuff like that actually will heat up first and fastest, and it'll heat that surrounding water. So that's one thing I'm looking for. Two, I want to see in this time of year contours that are close together. So that means really steep drops. I'm looking for channels that come in and bend, especially if I can get a bend in a deep water channel, you know, 30, 40 feet of water, especially if it comes up along like a rocky shoreline or a clay bank. That's where those fish are going to hide. That's where they're going to be sitting. So that they can come up on the shallows and warm up during the day, but retreat back to that deeper water when the evening and stuff like that comes, because that's where they want to be this time of year.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water. And if you can quickly eliminate dead water, that's how you're going to find most of your fish quickly.
Yeah, the other thing is this time of year is bait. You know, I'm looking for, like I said, rocky, clay shores, deep water close by. Now, if I can find all those features along with a bunch of bait fish, that there is probably going to be your best spots on the lake. And like you said, you know, that's your 5%, 10% of the fish right there. I mean, that's where most fish are going to be. They're not going to be out where there's dead water, because they want something where they can stay warm, have cover, have a place to go hide, and they want food. So if you can put all those things together, you're going to catch fish.
One second, I'll be right back. Hang on, I got some maps.
So I'm watching the chat. Is there any other questions in the chat? I haven't really looked here.
Yeah. Okay. See, I have maps that look like this. This comes out of a book. And I can take this book right here and within 10 minutes eliminate about 80% of the water. And that's got all the maps and all that, because first thing I'm doing, I'm always looking for where the drops are. And then from there, I'm looking for feeding flats, and then I go to rocky points. That's the way I eliminate water really quick.
Yeah, and the other thing, especially like I don't know how many people are boat fishermen, but learning your electronics and getting comfortable with them. Most people sight fish, and when I say sight fish, we're comfortable going and fishing things we see. We can see a point. We can see a laydown. We can see rocks on the shore. Well, if you can see it, well, everyone else can too. So one of the biggest things I could recommend, especially when fishing's wintertime or summer, is get used to your electronics and fish blind water, things you can't see with your eyes. I fish a lot of underwater structure, humps, stump fields, things like that that you can't see above the water. You're just relying on what that sonar return is.
Yeah,
And, those fish aren't pressured.
another thing you can do is you can find those points, especially with the map, that are underneath the water, especially in backwaters. You'll find points underneath the water no one else is fishing.
Yeah, like I said, people, you want to fish. Tendency is you want to fish things you can see because you can aim where you're casting, but everybody else is fishing that same water. So just getting comfortable and moving outside those norms that, most people are comfortable with, you'll be able to put a lot more fish in the boat. If you're on a lake and you see me, people probably wonder, why is he out in the middle of the lake fishing right there? There's nothing around right there. Well, there is. You just can't see it. It's underwater.
Yeah, and it's also like knowing, especially if you like fishing for catfish and all that. And this goes for rivers and that, from my experience, which is very little, is you're looking for those deep holes. And with the map, you can find those a lot faster than you can by just walking along the bank and looking.
Yeah, especially, like you said, catfish, any fish, especially like for me when you're fishing a tournament, you don't have time to try to eliminate water and figure it out on tournament day. So,
See,
every minute counts.
yeah, during a tournament, the first thing I always do is I always go to look for anything on the east side of the lake. And that's because the morning bite will be extended by the sun coming up and putting the shade into the water. And most people, your tournament is won and lost in those first, hour and a half, 2 hours of the tournament.
Yeah, usually the first few hours of the day, my goal in a tournament is to get 5 fish in the boat. I don't care how big they are, but just to get those first 5 fish in the boat. That way there you can start calling them out throughout the day when you're fishing for bigger fish.
Yeah, and that's the first hour and a half of fishing, and that is the time to catch your fish. A lot of times I'll put a spook on, and I'll run from feeding flat on the east side with tall trees, and that's where I'm going to get most of my bites on opening day, on the opening of a tournament.
Yeah, that's pretty close to what I'll do a lot of times, especially during the summer when the fish are feeding up on those flat pushing bait fish up there. I always have a spook tied on during the summer. This year I'm gonna try a whopper plopper. I finally broke down and got one of those, so I'm gonna give it a shot. I've never tried one yet. See everybody else using them, so I'm gonna fall in line and give it a shot.
Well, you don't have muskie and pike up here down there.
Well, actually, we do have pickerel, which is kind of like a small pike. It's a jackfish, and we actually do have muskie. So, and I'm hoping to try to get out, but we've had so much rain that the rivers where the muskie are, the rivers have just really been unfishable so far this year again. So I haven't had a chance to try for them.
Well, up here we have absolutely huge muskie and a whopper plopper. I'm just scared would just get taken by a muskie, and that's what, $20 down the drain.
Yeah, yeah, you get used. It's worth it though. I guess you fish enough, you get used to just losing some of the baits, which is interesting because I remember when you could buy baits, for $5 or $6, and that was like the super expensive bait. You were like, whoa, $6 bait. This is insane. I hope I don't lose this. And, now it's nothing. I've got crankbaits and stuff that are $15, $20. I've got swim baits, $30, $40 for a swim bait. So it's just insane the way tackle and prices and the way things like that have gone.
Yeah, my dad said before he remembered before maps became popular, he used to use the landshore contour to study what's going to be underneath the water by looking at the bank, which is a skill in itself to learn.
Yeah, that's definitely another way to do it. You can get a pretty good feel for what's under there by looking at that. But I mean, nowadays, like for me, it's amazing. We've got maps, the fish finders on the boat. They do down imaging, 3D down imaging, so I can see a 3D picture. I can see out to the sides with side scan features, so I can see everything. I can do 2D sonar that you're used to seeing. I can look out 60, 70, whatever feet out to the side of the boat. I can get an image of what's exactly on the bottom, 360 degrees around the boat. So just the technology now it's insane.
You can almost go along and start pitching and flipping the stuff underneath the water nowadays, and it's absolutely insane. It's just when you're doing that, you just remember to peel off the line because your bait will kind of pulls them back towards you if you don't have an extra slack in there.
Yeah, I actually use that. I'll use the side scan, and especially when I'm looking for, like you were saying about flats, I'll cruise those channel edges and look for the feeding flats, and I can eliminate a large section of that flat with the side scan because I'm looking for the bait. If that flat doesn't have bait sitting in that area, then there's no fish there. It's not worth fishing that water. So, I can break that down. I can go into a cove with docks and look with the side scan. I can look to see if there's bait or fish holding up on dock pilings. So whether I'm eliminating some of the docks that I don't even want to try to pitch to.
Yeah, and it's just the electronics nowadays have became so technically advanced that you can actually eliminate. You can find that 10% water real fast, and then you can create the pattern within the pattern by just using electronics. Which I don't know. Do you want to explain a little bit more about patterns to our audience?
What do you mean patterns as far as like?
Figuring out how the fish are biting that day. A lot of times they're on a certain pattern. So, say if you find them on docks, you find them on the third piling of every dock. A lot of times you can break down fish like along those lines.
Well, usually the way I find it is a lot of times if I'm going to have a tournament, I always try to get out there a few days ahead of time, and I try to figure out what pattern the fish are in. And if you find a pattern, usually the fish will hold that pattern until something happens, something like a barometric pressure increase or drop that's drastic, weather changes, things like that, temperature changes. So as long as you can find them and everything holds together, usually they'll stay in the same pattern for a little bit. But then again, I'll be honest, fish are unpredictable. I've caught them one way one day and no fish there the next. So,
oh yeah,
it's really just time on the water. And what's weird is every lake is different. So, like for me, I fish some lakes, and a couple of the lakes being in the area are highly pressured. So every dock, every laydown has been hit, throughout the day, every day, multiple times. And that's where I get into that deep water structure away from shore. And, I'll key on that. But if I'm fishing in the Potomac River or some of the other tidal rivers in the area, they're going to be sitting on either side of the structure. So, if you have a piling or a dock and the tide's coming in, they're going to be on that other side there where it's going to be pushing bait past it so they can ambush it. If the tide's going out, they're going to be on the other side usually of all the structure, waiting for bait to get pulled out.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that fish are predators and they're looking for easiest way to find their next meal.
Yeah, I mean, really, you've just got to look at it. Like I said, there's fish. Fish are not very different than we are. You know, they want security, they want shelter, and they want food. So trying to piece those things together is going to be the key to being successful most of the time.
Yeah, and even when you're out there and sometimes when I'm fishing out there, if I don't have any electronics, I'll drift fish. Now, and up here, I'm lucky because I can see bottom in 25, 30 feet of water. And as I'm drifting along, I'll pitch to a stump over here, a stump over there. And I found a lot of good places to fish like doing that. Even with the electronics, I sometimes find my best place is just driving around looking.
Yeah, there's been plenty of fish I've caught without even seeing anything on the sonar. So, you know, like I said, you never know.
Yeah.
The other type of fishing I do a lot is, like I was saying, I do a lot of striped bass fishing. So for those, I actually spend a lot of time trolling. So I'll use planer boards to get the baits way out to the side, or down lines to drop the baits down deep. And usually I'll use a lot of live bait on the lake for striped bass. You know, just like extra large size minnows, something about 4 or 5 inches, 6 inches long. And then if I'm out on the Chesapeake Bay, I actually have caught 40, 50 pound striped bass out there. We'll use anything up to 12-inch spoons, 12-inch shad, stuff like that out there. So,
What's
like
your
I said,
What's your biggest striped bass you've ever caught?
the biggest one I ever got was 56 pounds. And it was really pretty cool because we were out all day fishing. It was the only fish we caught. And I brought it back. And when I pulled it out of the boat, the neighbors were out and they have a younger son. And when I pulled it out, he wanted to lay next to it because the fish was actually longer than he was.
Wow, that's a big fish.
Yeah, it was just under. It was like 47 inches long.
Yeah, I haven't caught too many striped bass.
Yeah, the other cool fish we have that I'm kind of addicted to, and you'll probably, for anyone that actually follows the channel, they'll see a lot more of it this summer, is snakeheads.
Oh, yeah?
And yeah, you hear about them on the news. I don't think you guys really have them out where you're at. They're pretty prevalent around this area in Florida and stuff like that. But I actually caught one this last summer that was a few ounces off of a world record that I caught fishing out of my kayak. So, and I've got that. I don't know if anyone that's on a video. I actually have that video, and it's posted on the channel. But it was 6 ounces from a world record for hook and line for an all tackle world record.
That is a huge snakehead.
Yeah, it was just over 17 pounds, which is absolutely huge. I've caught some that were 10 pounds, and when I got this one in, it was an amazing fish. I knew it was way bigger. So I'm in the kayak. It's about 95 degrees outside. And my big concern is when you got something like that, the fish will lose a lot of water weight when it's hot. So I'm in a kayak, so there's no live well. So I'm throwing it in the middle of the kayak and I'm constantly dumping water on it. I get it back to my truck, and to keep it, I don't have a cooler or anything. So I actually plug all the holes in the bottom of the kayak and fill the kayak with water so I can try to get it to a weigh station. Because like I said, I knew it had to be close to one of the biggest ones that I've ever seen. So that was a pretty fun adventure.
How hard did it get you? I mean, you must have dragged that kayak around.
Yeah, it did. Actually, it's a really, like I said, I got it on video. It's a really good video. You can see how they thrash around and drag the kayak and see how big they actually are. And I mean, it was actually, I almost lost it. I don't want to give away the whole video, but I show in there how I almost lost that fish. I got really lucky with it to be able to actually still land it.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, let's not give away the whole entire video. Hey, I don't know if anyone has a link to that right, like post in there right now. Hey, welcome back, KMB. So you're gonna do a lot more of the snakehead fishing this year. Have you seen a bigger one
Yeah.
than the one you caught?
Oh yeah, they've killed bigger ones with bow fishing. But I've found that in this area, it seems like the snakehead videos get a whole lot of views. I think it's because in the local area here, we have the snakeheads, so it's really interesting to see how that has really played an effect. Those videos get a lot of views because everyone's looking them up because they're an invasive species and they're supposed to be horrible for the fishery, stuff like that. So everyone's always searching for snakeheads on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, snakeheads can be one of those fish that, from my understanding of them, that they are pretty aggressive, aren't they?
Yeah, they are actually extremely aggressive. I mean, you've seen bass hit topwater baits. A snakehead will hit a topwater frog. I mean, they'll come out 2-3 feet out of the water with the frog in their mouth. I mean, just the aggression they have. And the hard thing is they don't really roam open water. You have to really get back into the thick muck. So if there's not a lot of lily pads or weeds or anything like that, chances are snakeheads aren't there. So, I mean, when you're fighting one, you may have a 5-pound snakehead with 10 pounds of hydrilla weed attached to the line.
Yeah, so you must be using what, braided line to catch them?
Yeah, I use 65-pound braid on that. I actually brought a few of the rods down here with me. I don't know if they really will show up on there, but this is the one that I use for snakehead mostly. It's 65-pound braid on this. These are Patriarch reels for the bait casting. And this is a older model carrot stick that I use here.
Okay.
Me.
But braid is critical to being able to drag those fish out.
So are you using any type of leader on it or no?
No, I usually don't use any type of leader, so because I use the bigger braid. But you will lose some fish. They have razor sharp teeth and a whole lot of them. You can see on some of the one of the videos I have the thumbnail. I got a picture with the mouth wide open on one, and you can see how many teeth they have. And you don't want to put your finger in there to get the hook out.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to ask you about was how you take them off the hook. You using do you have to use like mouth spreaders or?
Yeah, I actually use I use those lippers, like those little fish grips that you have, and that's how I usually hold them and open the mouth, and then pliers to get it out. You definitely don't want to stick your finger in there because the other thing with a snakehead is even though you may think like if you have a fish and you lay it in the back of a kayak or wherever, it'll be dead after 15 minutes. It's probably dead. Snakeheads can live outside of water for quite some time. So even though you've had it out of the water for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever, that fish is still alive.
Yeah, so do they like when you're fishing for them? Are you kind of like looking for like holes in the back in the deep stuff, or are they kind of just kind of in the murk? Yeah, kind of just hanging on the bottom.
Well, I don't really, I look for holes to some extent, but really it's just I look for the thickest, nastiest stuff that I can find, and that's where I want to cast.
Okay. Are you using bigger lures than usual for the snakeheads, or are you using about the same size you would for a bass?
Exact same stuff as for a bass. So 95% of every snakehead I catch is on a frog of some type. So it's going to be a popping frog, a buzz type frog, or just a regular hollow body frog that floats on top. So, but they absolutely love those frogs. And like I said, bass are a good bycatch. I've caught plenty of 2, 3, 4 5-pound bass fishing for them. Same with snakeheads. Caught a lot of snakeheads fishing for bass.
It looks like Grant's taking us for a ride. You ever catch him on spinnerbait?
Never on spinnerbaits, but I've caught them on chatterbaits. Chatterbaits, especially in the spring, especially because a lot of the bass are in a pre-spawn pattern. So I'll be out there with a chatterbait ripping it through the grass, and occasionally you'll catch an early snake.
Okay.
So, are you planning on fishing any tournaments this next year?
I do have a few lined up. And like I said, only tournaments I have lined up so far for this year are veteran oriented. So I've got a couple of the Wounded Warrior tournaments. And there's a few other that the Marine Corps puts on the Potomac here at the base. So that's all I have planned so far this year. I'll probably get into some local tournaments this spring, but I haven't really put anything into those yet.
And K&B English wants to know if you can catch snakeheads at the same note you catch bass. And yes, pretty much.
Yeah, snakeheads, the biggest thing for them, like I said, they're a sight fishing predator. So they use sight, movement, stuff like that. So anything like a frog or anything that's going to agitate the water, move quick, things like that, that's what they're looking for.
So they're looking for anything that's buzzing the top.
Yeah, usually, they want something that's moving, making a lot of racket in the water. So like I said, they're more of a sight type predator. They're not like catfish where they have feelers and they're kind of feeling for it or can sense everything. They're looking for that movement.
Yeah, so we got some pretty big fish then down there. One thing I enjoy fishing in Virginia. I've fished in Virginia a couple times, but I was in the western part of the state because I got my master's at East Tennessee State, and I used to go up there to reservoirs just down on the Tennessee Virginia border all the time. And you guys have huge smallmouth there. You do a lot of smallmouth fishing over there?
Yeah, I actually have a few citation smallmouth. I've caught a couple smallmouth over 5 pounds here. They're all over 20 inches. And I caught them in the rivers usually in the springtime. So there's definitely, Virginia's a really good fishery because the fishery it changes from the east to the west of the state. So in the east, you get a lot of the salt water and bass fishing on the tidal rivers, striped bass, things like that. But if you go west, you actually get more of the smallmouth and trout fishing.
Yeah, and I know on the eastern side, you have to learn how to fish with the tides because that was one problem I used to always have problems with was the tides of the fish.
Yeah, if you don't learn to fish the tide, we're not going to do very well out here.
Yeah, almost all the main waters out there have some tidal with it. And one thing which I learned when you're fishing tides is you have to pay attention to what's going on. When the tide is going out, you want to be on the opposite side of the structure as much as you can.
Yeah, well, the thing I've done this once is when the tide's coming in, you can get back into some of the backwater. So you'll be floating back there, no problem. But you'll be fishing all day, and then the tide starts moving out. And where there was 2 or 3 feet of water, now there's only about a foot of water left. So you got to plan accordingly so you don't get stuck back there until the tide changes again.
Yeah, that's one thing with
you guys.
I was going to say, that's one thing I've seen a lot of people do to get stuck out where they're fishing because the tide goes out. They're not paying
I've seen quite a few guys out of their boat pushing them off the mud flats and stuff like that because they've been back there too long.
The tide don't change like instantly either. I mean, if you're paying attention, that won't happen.
Yeah, you can watch the tide. You know when it's doing just by watching the pad or the feed. You'll see when the water's moving.
Yeah.
But it's when you always think you have a few more minutes you can cast around.
You always think there's that one last cast you can do. Hey, how you doing, Alan Outdoors is in the house, everyone.
So I did bring a few things.
Great channel, guys.
Since it's kind of winter time, for most of us fishing, I did bring a few things I was going to show as far as what I use in the winter.
Okay, what do you use in the winter?
Winter time, like I said, we already talked earlier about finding the fish and really keying on that deep water with either rock or mud or clay and looking for the bait fish. So a lot of the fishing I do is going to center around that. So one of the biggest things that I catch a lot of fish on is right here. These are 3.5 inch baits. Spins on it, and I like to use that mainly for searching. I'll use that as a search bait to see if I can't find fish because they can cover a lot of water with it. And I'll just do a little something. That swim bait there is actually from another YouTuber. Some people might have seen the channel. It's the Top Water King. He actually makes those swim baits, and I've got a whole bunch of them now. I've been really impressed by them. The price is right. You get a lot of them. They're high quality. And, honestly, they just straight up have great action and catch a lot of fish for me. So if anybody out there is looking for swim baits, it's worth checking out the Top Water King and looking at those baits he's got on there. The other thing I use a lot of metal in the wintertime. So I fish a lot of spoons and blade baits. And I'll use these blade baits here. I don't know if you can see it, but and there's a few tricks I'll share on these blade baits because a lot of people use them. And this is actually going to be in one of my upcoming videos. I'm doing another fishing hack video where I'm going to show off some of these little tips and tricks too. But you'll notice that on this here one, there's only 2 pieces of hook there. And the reason why is because these blade baits have a tendency, since you're jigging them off the bottom, they get caught on absolutely everything. Every rock, every stump. They want to snag on those and you're dragging them back up with either something on it or you're going to lose your bait or straighten the hook. So what I do is I take that treble hook and I actually snip the front barb. And the reason is it doesn't decrease the hookups. But now when that bait's coming, it doesn't catch.
Yeah, Grant's just see I muted him because of the wind.
I thought I had it muted.
No, I muted you. It's windy out there, man. Casting into the wind.
Yeah, so I was saying, with these blade baits, they like to snag on absolutely everything. But by clipping that front barb off, I don't know if you see, I can rub my finger up against it. It doesn't catch or anything anymore because that hook will come back and it'll go right over top of all the stuff on the bottom. So that's a little tip right there for anyone that uses blade baits.
Oh, yeah, and that's just about...
I would highly, clip that front barb off. It's not needed. All it does is snags up and you just lose more blade baits.
You catch actually most of your fish on the back blades anyways.
Yeah. Now here's the other bait I love, especially once I find some schooling fish, is right there. looks like my thing went out, so I guess you can't see it right
Yeah, I
now.
was gonna say, there it goes.
We'll wait till it comes back. But I use uh,
Uh,
these big spoons. This here is a 6-inch spoon right here, and one of the tricks with the spoon is, as you can see, you got your spoon, but it only has this one hook right here. And when you're using a large spoon, especially a 6-inch or a 7-inch or an 8-inch spoon, those fish will come and they'll hit this spoon and they'll be gone. You'll miss a lot of fish because you only have this one hook. So what I do is I always take a hook, treble hook, and I actually attach it to the line just above the swivel here, so it moves up and down. So I have an extra hook right on the top. So now when that's jigging up and down, I have 2 hooks. So when the fish comes and hits the top, I can actually get a hook up here or a hook up on the bottom, which really increases your hookup rate when using these big spoons. So the other thing that's really interesting with these that I like is it's not just any hook. I don't know if it's back up here, but if you look, that hook I use has a lot of that feathering on it, along with a lot of the glitter pieces in it. And that's because I want that flash. And that actually, when it's in the water, you'll see in the upcoming video, when I finally get this one done, using this tip and trick, is this flashing on this tail actually looks like a fin in the water. So as it's coming up and down, this is actually going to move and it looks like a fin, which really attracts those fish.
oh yeah, you're probably catching more fish on that little hook than you had the big hook down at the bottom.
Yep, that is absolutely right. And, that's an old school trick there that I learned. And you're right. I was using a spoon and I was having bites, but I was missing so many fish. And when I figured this one out, I started doing this, and my hookup rate, it like tripled.
Oh yeah, and
And you'll see underwater, I mean, adding that hook there when I put that video out, it is absolutely amazing the kind of color and action that gives it. The other thing is, I always fish big spoons on braid. And what I do is I actually have braid, and then I'll have a 3 to 4 foot section of monofilament line, usually about 25 pound or 30 pound. And the reason is when I'm fishing these spoons, it's usually in deep water. So I'm fishing anywhere from 20 to 30, 40 feet of water. So that braid takes out all that extra slack and stretch. So whether I feel the fish and can get a good hook set in the deep water, and that little bit of mono gives me the invisibility of the line, plus just enough stretch that I'm not actually losing fish because of the braid because it doesn't have any stretch. So
yeah, another thing about braid is going to slow down the set of the spoon too, because braid has a tendency to float.
yeah, but when you're using braid on such a heavy spoon, it really becomes a non-factor. It's actually the braid is nice because it's a thinner diameter. So by using a thinner diameter line and whatnot instead of the thick mono all the way up, like I said, I'm fishing 30, 40 feet of water sometimes. I've went into 50 feet of water and caught fish. I don't know if you know, but your line, as it's in the water and you're moving, you're drifting way off from where your bait might actually be. So that thin braid cuts through the water column and keeps that bait straight up and down. Because it goes back to what I said about electronics. When I'm using that jigging spoon, I'm looking for fish on those channel edges or steep drops, and I'm seeing them on the fish finder, and I want to stay over top of those, but I need my bait right there. So when you got wind or current trying to pull you away from that, having that bait straight up and down, I'll actually put that spoon in the water and I can watch my bait on the fish finder move up and down. So I can see my bait on the fish finder. I can see the fish. So whether I know if I'm at the right depth, I know where I'm at, I know if there's any fish in that area, or if I need to let it drift a little further down the contour. So, it all comes together. You've got to be able to take all these little pieces and put them together. And that's, the big difference between a lot of recreational type fishing, where you're just out there to cast around, and tournament fishing, where, some of these tournaments will do, they're anywhere from $100 to $500 for an entry fee. So, it's pretty serious.
At that point, every single cast counts.
Oh, every cast counts, and that's why, some people always make jokes about, like, you can catch fish on any type of rod. It doesn't matter what you're using. I'm people out on the fishing, but a lot of people that fish more professionally, they have a lot of higher end equipment, because another thing is every ounce counts. If you're casting a heavy rod and reel all day long, you get wore out. You're tired by the end of the day. I mean, these tournaments are long days. So.
Oh, yeah. Another thing a lot of people don't realize is when you're out there actually doing that, you're actually slowing down and fishing the stuff that you want to be fishing. And you got to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Because at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, did you do absolutely everything possible to win?
Yep. Like I said, it'd be one thing if it was a few dollars. And, I do a fair number of tournaments where they're, $30, $40 entry fees, $50 entry fees. But when you get into those bigger dollar tournaments, it's serious fishing.
Oh, yeah. Hey, hi, Musky Hams just came in. Yeah, we're getting really close to the end of the show here. We have about 4 minutes left. So this is the part where I'm going to ask you if there's anything that we haven't covered that you want to cover to go ahead and cover.
Yeah, actually there is one thing, and like I said, I plan on trying to do some more live streams. I want to get into the little bit of live streaming. I don't know if I'm going to do it from here like this down here or on the water. I don't know yet, but just kind of giving back. I've had so many great supporters in the community, that I want to give a little bit back. And, especially now that my channel's grown, I'm at almost 2,200 subscribers now. I get a fair number of people that come and visit and watch my videos. So I feel like I'm at a point where I can bring other people in and do a live stream now and have enough people that other people can get support and grow too. So that's one thing. But with that, the other thing I found, I just want to remind people is, we are a community and supporting each other is important. And YouTube does take and remove all of your subscribers, things like that. If people aren't watching or visiting your channel, just hitting the subscribe button, hitting the bell, it's not enough. You actually need to go and visit these channels and spend a few minutes on their videos when they put them up. So that way there, it locks that in and they don't lose you down the road.
Yeah, my channel is actually growing pretty fast, and I'm hoping to hit 2K by the end of the month. You think I'll do it?
I think you have a possibility of doing it. Yeah, your channel, I followed you since pretty close to the beginning. So it's definitely grown quite a bit. And, that's just a testament, like I said, that the community is very vibrant out there for the fishing community. There's a lot of people outside the fishing community that are interested in this, things like that. But it's important that we all support each other. I'm not saying you have to spend 7-8 hours a day on YouTube, but when people put videos out, pay them a visit, spend a few minutes with them. If you just hit that button and then that's the last thing you do, honestly, you might as well not even hit the button, because that's basically what's going to happen in the end. They're going to see a number increase, and then a few days later or a month later, they're going to go through and they're going to say, well, this person doesn't visit these channels. That must be a dead thing, so they just get rid of it. That's why some people... they'll see these big fluctuations every so often, and that's when they go through and purge out all those people that don't visit any channels they subscribe to. You'll still be subscribed, so in your view, it looks like, oh, I'm still subscribed to them, but YouTube doesn't see you visiting, so they'll take it away from the other person. So, just make sure if we hit that button for each other and, support each other, that we're really supporting each other the way we should be out there.
Yeah, and I really think I'm gonna hit 2K before I hit 4K in hours. It's gonna be kind of funny.
Yeah, the hours thing is pretty interesting. One thing I like to do, and I recommend a lot of people do it if they're looking for those hours, is put all your videos into a playlist. Because a lot of times, if someone lets me know, hey, I'm close to it, I'll set your playlist up on the computer when I go to bed, and I'll just play the playlist through the night. I mean, I'm not watching, so I'll just be honest. But if you set a straight content, all your content playlist, um, I'll usually take and play that, so that way there you get all your videos, you get a view, and that counts for your hours. So just trying to help people, especially when they're close, push over that 4,000 hour mark.
Yeah, I'm at 3,100 hours.
So that's not too far off. Then you'll be there in no time.
And I have some 8-hour streams, so you gotta go to sleep and do that. You just pick one of my 8-hour streams.
Yeah, all it takes is one video to that one video that seems to do really well to push you over that limit. So, like I said, I haven't looked, but if you've got a playlist like that, like I said, anyone else out there that's in the community that has a playlist and they're close on their hours or whatever, that's where it's good to communicate and support each other, because we can help each other with that. We just need to know about it and have it set up. And, like I said, I'll watch them or I'll play them through the night or whatever to help out.
Yeah, I'm turning on some people into Smurfs here. And I don't turn everyone into Smurfs for a reason. Because people end up hiding people and you don't know why. I've always said if you're going to make someone a moderator, you got to make sure you trust them with your password. Because they can ruin your channel. Catfish goes, Smurf me! Well,
I don't know. Is there any other questions from anyone in the chat then? Or
yeah, any more
anything? Like I said, I got a lot of bass fishing experience.
Yeah, so do I. Did you enjoy that my show when I had the FLW Pro up here? Yeah, I had an FLW Pro, what was it, last week up here. And it was an absolutely awesome show. So I want to
I was probably working because I didn't see that one. I might even, depending on where he fishes on it, I may actually even have fished against him or whatever, because I fished a few of those tournaments. So,
hey, MD Outdoors, we're just getting off here. I'm gonna go find someone to raid real fast. And I want to thank you, One Cast, One Fish, for coming today. It was an honor to have you.
No problem. I appreciate having me on. Like I said, it was a chance to get a little more comfortable with the live format before I start trying to do any streams myself. So it was really enjoyable. It was good chatting with everyone, sharing a few things. So
let me see here. I think we're going to go here to raid. So I want to thank everyone for coming today. It was absolutely an honor having you here, One Cast, One Fish.
Yeah, good to meet you, One Cast, One Fish.
I always think of a one shot, one kill. So here we go. We're going to go over here. We're going to raid. We're going to come in with Kohl Raiders.
Who are you raiding?
We're going to raid hunting and stuff with J&J.
Okay.
Gotta find the right one.
What's up,
Here's
MD?
where we're gonna raid, guys. We're gonna use hashtag Kohl Raiders. And you get a lot of support over there too, guys. I'll see you guys later.
See you guys. Have a great day.